Clearwater Conservancy has been committed to conserving and restoring the natural resources of Center County and beyond for more than 40 years. In 2022, we purchased 10 acres on Spring Creek in Hauserville. We have a 20-year relationship with this land, having restored the streamside forested buffer in 2004. This property, in the heart of the Spring Creek watershed, is the site of our new permanent home and our local conservation, restoration, and education programs. The public will be welcome to explore the stream, as well as use the community meeting room for partnerships and collaboration. Clearwater's dedicated volunteers will see firsthand the positive impact of their efforts. Your support ensures that our conservation work thrives, protecting our natural resources for everyone. As an accredited land trust, we promise that residents will enjoy clean water and natural areas for many years to come. Your support is essential in preserving our natural resources for future generations. Visit clearwaterconservancy.org to learn how you can get involved.
You're watching CNET, Center County's Government and Educational Access Network.
At 10:04, sorry for the slight delay. There were some streaming issues that we'll definitely have fixed by next meeting. All those who are able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any public here for a comment for items not appearing on today's agenda? Unless somebody's running in from the hallway, we're probably okay. Any additions to the agenda? Nope. All right, moving on to the meeting minutes, we can take a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meeting held July 1st.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the meeting held on July 1st, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose nay. Motion carries. Moving on to contracts and authorizations. Jonathan has a lot of stuff for us.
Yes. So this morning I'm asking for your consideration and approval of change orders with Ainsworth Incorporated for heating loop supply and return piping changes and an additional fire pump test to verify its operation with the emergency generator. This change order total is $32,692.47. The next change order is with Watkins Security for hardware changes to the fitness center entrance door and additional cameras in the elevators in the amount of $8,540.15. The changes are because the door width is not wide enough for the card reader, so we have to do some changes to make that work. And then I'm asking for your consideration and approval of a proposal with Swartz Fire and Safety to conduct service and inspection of 5 and 10 pound fire extinguishers for the community services building. These fire extinguishers are located throughout the facility and they're required for code. That's $1,139.92. And then I'm asking for your approval for the purchase of an Amana range, a GE microwave, and Whirlpool dishwasher, as well as the associated material for the installation of these items from Mike's TV and Appliance out of State College. This is for the Bellefonte Senior Center that will be moving into the Community Services Building, and those items amount $1,820. And then I'm asking for your approval of 2 Frigidaire ranges, 2 microwaves, 4 refrigerators, 2 stackable washer and dryers, and all associated installation materials, also from Mike's TV and Appliance for the Children and Youth Services Department for their visitation suites and their break rooms. That will be grant funded in the amount of $9,268.
Great. Well, thanks for covering those 5 items, Jonathan. I myself personally use Schwartz Fire and Safety Equipment, a great Bellefonte company, and they're a big supporter of the livestock sales at the Grange Fair. And great to see that we're using Mike's TV and Appliances, a great local company, for some of the utilities utility type devices required at the community services building.
Yes, they are a great company to work with, very responsive, and they provide great pricing for
Yep,
us.
that's been my experience too.
And
but-
good service when you need
Yes,
repairs.
absolutely.
Yeah, Commissioner Concepcion, anything on this?
Yeah, sounds good. It's pretty straightforward.
All right,
Okay.
if there's any questions?
I will move to approve capital project items 1 through 5.
We have a motion, I'll second the motion. So we'll take a motion to approve the 5 items for capital projects. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries, and you've got a couple more things for us, Jonathan.
Yes, under facilities, I'm asking for your consideration and approval of a contract with Pennaco Incorporated for asbestos abatement in courtroom 2 at the courthouse. So we had previously approved a contract for replacing the carpet in that area.
Yeah.
When we had looked at replacing the carpet, we did not find asbestos tile under it until we were approximately 6 feet off of the walls, and that's when it was discovered. So we had to stop what we were doing to be able to get the proper abatement and disposal methods for that. That contract totals $12,996.
All right, that explains why, because I know we removed the asbestos from the HVAC system in the courthouse. I know we removed the asbestos from some other flooring, and in this case, it was covered up by carpet, and you
Yes.
couldn't see it until you had all the carpet removed.
Correct.
All right.
Okay. Well, got to get done.
Yeah,
I'll move to add the contract with Pinoco Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of adding the contract with Pinoco Inc. to next week's consent agenda do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. And another item, Jonathan.
Yes, this item is for the correctional facility. It is for PFAS, 40 PFAS testing chemicals from Pace Labs for the wastewater at the correctional facility per permit requirements from Bellefonte Borough. This is due to the phosphorus and industrial use of the facility. Bellefonte Borough is required by DEP and EPA to conduct this test for 4 quarters annually, just to see what the facility produces. And then they will make a determination if any recommendations are required to correct any issues that are found. So this is in the amount of $1,848.
All right, so it's a pretty standard requirement for testing from the Water Authority.
Yes, they are requiring all industrial users to conduct this test.
So is this new, or is this an ongoing?
This is a new thing that EPA and DEP are requiring. It just started in January, and we had just got notified a few months ago that we need to have this done.
Okay, because I knew we did the phosphorus testing.
Yeah.
already,
Yes,
yeah.
the phosphorus testing is ongoing. This is kind of inclusive. Pace Labs is also the testing company that we use for the phosphorus as well.
Okay, got it.
All right, thanks for covering that.
Then I will move to add the contract with Pace Labs to next week's consent agenda.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of adding the contract with Pace Labs to next week's consent agenda do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks,
Thank you.
Jonathan.
Thanks.
Now Chad has an item with Plum Laboratories.
Yes, good morning. Asking for consideration of approval for a Plum case. And so a Plum case is a portable broadband kit
Yeah.
that allows high-speed internet and voice capabilities in areas with limited or no service. And so this case can be used for any type of business continuity case, also be a good fit in a mobile elections van as well.
Yeah.
So does it work on like the cellular network, or?
It does, yes.
Okay.
And so we put 2 SIM cards in, one from one carrier, one from a different carrier, and then it goes off of those, yes.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, so it's real flexible. I think we already have one.
We tested it as part of our continuity of operations plan through EMA has one, and it worked flawlessly.
Okay.
So this is kind of a backup for that, but I think also we're planning on using it for the elections department.
Yes,
service.
it is. EMA has one already. This is a separate one in case they're out on type of emergency,
Yeah.
and we need to have another continuity of operations connection, and for the mobile election van as well.
Okay.
Great. Well, glad to see that that technology is available for
Yeah.
us.
I'll move to add the contract with Plum Laboratories, Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of adding the contract with Plum Laboratories, Inc. to next week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
Moving on to, for Faith in Adult Services. Looks like we're receiving a nice grant.
Yep. Sorry. Good morning. So we have received the Home ARP grant through DCD. This is one that we actually applied for about a year ago, and were recently awarded our full ask a couple of weeks ago. So this is a request to approve and sign the contract for $232,000. $232,575. This is going to be for rental assistance, financial assistance, and mental health services. The rental assistance and financial assistance very much mirrors our existing ESG program. However, because it's ARP dollars, it has some expanded requirements. So there's some pieces that will allow us to help folks that we would have otherwise not been able to. This is a 2-year grant, which is a great flexibility for us. And then the mental health component is to assist people that are experiencing homelessness or near homelessness with mental health services, especially if it's, they've been experiencing homelessness, they don't have medical assistance, and we're in that in-between time while we're trying to get them served. They're working through PATH and things like that we can cover their services for them. So this will be a great opportunity for our departments to collaborate and spend down the funds.
Glad to hear that the grant is flexible and helps people who are kind of hitting that services cliff where they're not necessarily destitute, but they're also not, say, having a job that was providing health care benefits. So that sounds great, and we do thank our state and especially federal partners for funding the grant. Commissioner Concepcion?
Yeah, glad to hear this.
It's good
Especially,
news.
yeah, but some of our concerns about Medicaid funding going forward, that to have something that helps fill some of these gaps.
It's been a really big morale boost for the department.
Good to hear.
Very good.
All right, then I would move to approve the Home ARP grant agreement with the Department of Community and Economic Development.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of approving the Home American Rescue Plan grant agreement with the Department of Community and Economic Development do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Faith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And then I think Julia's probably in the, are we calling it the green room or the library?
We call it the green room,
green room.
today.
Okay.
Yeah. So good morning.
Morning.
I'm here before you with a letter of agreement with Bowers All About Kids LLC to provide services including eval occupation therapy, home and in the community, eval physical therapy, home and in the community, eval special instruction in the home and community, and eval speech pathology in the home and community. Contract total is $35,000, with the state share being $31,500 and the county's match being $3,500. And this is for July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Yeah, we'd like to thank Bowers All About Kids. I'm assuming, based on the name, this is primarily early intervention.
It's all early intervention,
for small
yes.
children. Some of our best spend for human services dollars.
Yes,
If we can work with a child when they're, a year and a half, 2, 3 years old, on speech therapy, they'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
If you delay that even a couple of years, it's very, very difficult to get the therapy to stick.
Yeah, their referrals are at all-time high, and so
Wow.
these partnerships are very valuable to early intervention.
Okay.
Wonderful. Commissioner Concepcion?
No, good to know. Thank you.
All right.
I'll move to add the letter of agreement with Bowers All About Kids LLC to next week's consent agenda.
I will second the motion. All in favor of adding the letter of agreement with Bowers All About Kids LLC to next week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, thanks, Julia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we do have a consent agenda, kind of medium-sized.
I'll move to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of approving this week's consent agenda, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. And John has a CNET item today.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Before you for consideration is the sponsorship of a CNET broadcasting of the Constitution Day Center, Inc.'s Making Our Voices Heard Roundtable event, which is slated for Saturday, September 20th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Delta School.
Great. Those are usually very fun and lots of interesting discussion.
Yeah, Constitution Day is a good good event. So I will move to approve the CNET sponsorship of Constitution Day Center Inc.'s Making Our Voices Heard Roundtable event.
I will second the motion. All those in favor of approving the CNET sponsorship for Constitution Day Center Inc.'s Making Our Voices Heard Roundtable event, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And assuming we have a check run, right?
We do have a relatively small check run, but one of the checks that I'd like to recognize on the check run is to Skills of Central Pennsylvania. They're an important partner in working with our residents who have intellectual disabilities and helping them with job skills. And with that, I would move that we approve the check run dated July 3rd, 2025.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor of approving the check run dated July 3rd, 2025, do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Do you have an administrator's report today, John? We got a quick meeting going.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
The second quarter report will be coming out soon.
Yeah, it's kind of a tight deadline.
Yeah, we just ended the second quarter, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to reports and announcements, Commissioner Concepcion, looks like you do have.
I do have a voter report. So our total voters on the report this week is 101,618. That's down 91 from last week. Of those, Democratic voters comprise 41,252, Green Party 160, Libertarian 558, those with no affiliation 15,583, and Republican voters come in at 42,050 voters. All of the other minor parties comprise 2,015 voters, bringing us to that total of 101,618. Our precinct of the week that we're going to recognize today is Milesburg Borough. This is Precinct 8. There are 622 registered voters. They had a voter turnout of 29% at the May primary election. The Precinct 8 votes at the Milesburg Community Center at 101 Mill Street in Milesburg, and we'd like to thank the Community Center for the use of their space for elections.
Great.
It's the voter report.
Thanks, Commissioner Concepcion. John, do we have any executive sessions to report or hold?
None to hold right at this moment. However, there is one to report. The board met on July 1st from 11:47 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. to discuss a legal matter.
Great. Thanks for reporting that, John. Our public meeting schedule on Thursday the 10th, we have the combined salary board and board of commissioners meeting. And then on Tuesday the 15th, we have the board of commissioners meeting at 10. And of course, we're now heading into Arts Festival week here in Center County. I think Children's Day is usually Wednesday, and most of I think the People's Arts Fest will kick in on Thursday, and then on Friday, Art in the Trees kicks in as well. It's a crazy multiple hundred artists at 3 different locations, but it's a really good time. So hopefully the weather will hold out and everybody will have a great Arts Fest weekend. Any questions from the press?
Going back to the home art grants for mental health and other things like that, how important is it to secure this funding to help people in need?
I'll kick it off, but maybe Commissioner Concepcion would like to add some extra items. Generally, if somebody is ending up homeless or having extreme difficulty finding an apartment, there's usually some aspect of mental health or addiction mixed in there somewhere as well. And unfortunately, I think here in Center County, more than half of homeless people actually have jobs. So in a lot of cases, they earn more money than is to be eligible for benefits. So they have an addiction issue, they have a mental health issue, but they work, but their job doesn't provide health care. So these funding, especially because it's flexible, allows our human service agencies to offer the services that people need so that they can find permanent residences. But I'll hand it over to Commissioner Concepcion for additional detail.
Yeah, I think we're seeing housing insecurity as an increasing concern here in this region with the robust housing market. The downside of that is when housing prices are relatively high, it's harder for folks who are, maybe below the median income in the area to be able to afford housing. So housing insecurity just continues to be something we're keeping an eye on. And the idea of being able to provide financial assistance, rental assistance for people who may be kind of on the edge of is pretty critical. So we're, fortunate to have this grant. And as Faith Ryan had mentioned, the ESG grant that we highlighted last week at the meeting too as well.
I did see an article recently, I think it was from another state, where more than half of the people who did receive grants or services of this general type were able to stay in an apartment or a rental unit once the assistance was provided. So it is pretty successful.
And then I know it's just a holiday weekend, but anything from the DOC yet?
Haven't heard anything, no.
No.
Good question. All right. Unless there's anything else for the good of the order, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor of adjourning at 10:23 do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Are you looking for an affordable home located near school, work, and fun? Are you downsizing or leaving the area and looking to sell your home? Reach out to the State College Community Land Trust today. We have been buying, rehabbing, and selling permanently affordable homes in the State College Borough since 1996. We keep land in trust and homes within reach always, so that income-qualified individuals, families, and their pets can find their forever homes.
Give thanks for literacy. Literacy means a life of increased safety, achievements, and community participation. For more than 50 years, Mid-State Literacy Council has empowered thousands of residents with literacy skills, improving their families' lives. Literacy builds our community. Help us celebrate literacy and support Mid-State Literacy Council by volunteering or donating to our Give Thanks for Literacy campaign. www.mid-stateliteracycouncil.org.